Good morning, guys. So I'm super excited to be able to go over today's show. We're going to be going over some of the best solutions and root causes of headaches because, man, here's the thing. Almost everybody that comes to our office is dealing with headaches at a certain point throughout the day or a certain point throughout the week. So we're going to be going over, again, best solutions for headaches. We're also going to be going over some of the most proven, scientifically proven ways to actually relieve pain. So, again, I know that pain is something that we deal with on a regular basis. And even though, pain is never the root cause of a problem, it's always a symptom of it. We also know that pain can actually change the way our brain works and the way our brain functions. So we're going to make sure that we address that. Today, we're going to go over root causes of pain, what you can do about it, what's some of the best solutions to really getting down to the root cause of your health. So it's going to be a fantastic show. So sit back, enjoy. And again, if you have questions, make sure that you leave your questions here because I'm going to answer those throughout the show and during the break. All right, guys, welcome to Wellness Radio. I am your health expert, Dr. Nathan Warren. If this is your first time tuning into our show, welcome. This show is all about helping people find real solutions to their health problems. No more of this, dogma that just says, oh, you got to take another pill, you got to get another surgery. We actually get down to the real root cause of health issues and what you can do about it. Because the majority of disease that walks into your doctor's office, into your hospital, into your typical medical office, again, 92 to 95% of those visits are due to chronic disease. And guess what? Chronic disease is lifestyle based. So if lifestyle is the cause, then guess what? Lifestyle is also the cure. So we want to make sure that we're not just relying on again, another drug or another symptom reliever. Instead, right, here's what we find. Here's what we find from most of the people that have come to see us and again are finally at a point where they're like, man, you know what, I've tried everything else. I'm ready to actually see if we can find out root cause. Most of the time it looks like this. You go into your doctor, you get a prescription. That prescription slip is a permission slip, right? It's a permission slip to continue to live your life the way that you did. Now, I will say this. There's certain people out there, you don't want to change. And that's okay. Listen, I'm not trying to change people who don't want to change. But bottom line is accept, that what you're doing will create issues later down the road. It will cost you money or it will cost your family money and it will create heartache in some way or another. So you have to realize that, and so take responsibility for that. If you don't want to make changes, that's fine, right? But you have to take responsibility for that. You can't drink a Mountain Dew and expect that to do good things in your body. I don't care how hard you pray for it. It doesn't work that way, right? It's fake food. Same thing. You put McDonald's into your belly. It doesn't matter how hard you pray for it. That stuff is still fake food. So we have to realize and take responsibility for our choices. Now, here's another thing that I find. People that don't want to make changes, right? But they also don't want to take responsibility. They make excuses and they justify, right, their actions. That again, I see this all the time. Well, Dr. Nathan, yeah, but my doctor said, I'm just one in a million. There's nothing I can do for my high blood pressure. And I'm like, first of all, show me the research that says that, right? Show me the article that talks about that. Show me the reason why you are so different from the other, 80 million people who have high blood pressure. Because the bottom line is you're not, right? So don't justify the bad actions that we take in our health steps, all right? Instead, right, we take responsibility, right? So again, it's about to be Thanksgiving, it's about to be Christmas, which means what? It means that, we're gonna have some choices we're gonna enjoy, we're gonna celebrate, you're gonna eat some food that may not be something you eat on a regular basis. And guess what? You're going to take responsibility for it and it's going to be fine and you're going to enjoy it. You're going to have a happy time. It's going to be great. We're not going to beat ourselves up over it. What are we going to do? Because we're making health a lifestyle, guess what? You don't have to lose twice. And what do I mean by that? That means that one of the worst things that you can do when you have a quote unquote cheat day or when you have a cheat meal, one of the worst things that you can do is lose twice. So what does that mean? That means if you have a day where you blow it, don't also beat yourself up emotionally over it. If it's a lifestyle, right, and you're literally trying to live a healthy lifestyle, you don't have to worry about it mentally, right, or emotionally. You can just say, hey, you know what? I blew it today, so guess what? Tomorrow, I'm right back on the bandwagon. You see what I'm saying? So you don't have to lose twice. When you lose twice and you beat yourself up emotionally, that's when we create massive amounts of stress in the body, all right? So in this show, I'm not asking for perfection, but I am asking for us to all be adults and take responsibility for the actions that we do in our health, and then responsibility for what comes from those actions. It's like I tell my kids, they're 3.5 and 2 years old. I tell them there's consequences for choices. Doesn't mean we can't then, make a change. It doesn't mean that, we can't say I'm sorry, that we can't do that. But bottom line is, even for those bad decisions, there's consequences for choices. Don't justify your actual bad decisions. All right, we're all adults. Let's take responsibility for that. Because again, I'm just one of those people. I don't like excuses. Bottom line, excuses to me, are just absolutely unnecessary. Just take responsibility and move on. And when you take responsibility for it, guess what? You can make a change. If you blame it on everybody else and you blame it on everything else, guess what? You can't change those things. But you can change you, and you can change your thoughts, and you can change your actions, which to me is super exciting, right? Super exciting. So if you guys live locally, guys, we are local doctors here in Chattanooga. We work across from the YMCA there. We have a health clinic, and it's right next to the Home Depot. Guys, there we work with root cause, right? We actually try to figure out what is at the root cause to your headaches. What is at the root cause to your chronic pain? What is at the root cause to your gut issues? What is at the root cause to your heart disease, to your cancer, to your diabetes? We try to say, hey, there is something that triggered these actions, or multiple things that triggered these actions inside of your body. We don't want to just slap a Band-Aid over it. And so we do that every single day in our office. We do that with kiddos. We do that with, little babies. We do that with, pregnant women. We do that with families. We do that with older adults. We do that with people who had multiple surgeries. We do that with people who are on 18, 19 different medications. And yes, that is not a joke. I have seen people, many people actually, that are on that amount of medications that don't even know what they're taking. So we do that with every individual that walks into our office. If you are breathing and you are walking, or if you are just breathing in general, that means the body is still healing, right? It doesn't mean that you might be perfect one day, but what it does mean is that the body can move forward. So, again, we want to make sure that we are supplying you guys with the real solutions, the real answers, so that you can take real action steps. And so throughout the show, if you want one of our 3 appointments we set aside specific appointments for the show. Instead of $120, it's only $60. This will include exam, consultation, any necessary x-rays, a sit down with myself or Dr. Rebecca. That number is 423-362-5360. We actually had to put 3 people last week on a waiting list. And so again, because it's the holiday season, we are very, very busy. So if we put you on the waiting list, it may be several weeks before you get in. So those 3 appointments, if you want them, for instead of 120 for only 60, give Mary Beth a call. She's standing by at the office, 423-362-5360. All right, so let's dive into our first topic of the day. That's pain. And so, a lot of my patients who are, listening on Facebook Live, and if you guys want to listen on Facebook Live, Doctors Warren, DRSWARREN, Doctors Warren on Facebook, like and follow that page, and come join us live right now. A lot of my patients know I'm not chasing pain in the office, right? Like, I don't go in there when I adjust the spine, I'm not, chasing every little, pain point. That's not what I do. I'm not an aspirin, right? But bottom line is, I do recognize that chronic pain has been shown in the scientific literature to change the brain, to negatively impact the brain. So therefore, if it's negatively impacting the brain and it's creating a stress response, that means it is damaging your nervous system. And so we do want to go over ways that you can decrease your pain. Now, root cause is the main way that we do that, by saying, hey, what is actually creating that sciatic pain that's going down your leg? What is actually creating that lower back pain that's driving you nuts at work? What's creating that nerve pain that's literally going down into your arms, hands, and fingers? Your doctor keeps keeps doing all these nerve conduction tests and tells you it's carpal tunnel, but yet you have no pain in the wrist and you don't know why it's happening. What is creating these problems? And so we want to be able to say, hey, what is the root cause, so that we don't, again, put a Band-Aid over it and that problem gets worse. Because if you put a Band-Aid over a problem in the body, best case scenario, it stays the same. But what normally happens? It gets worse, right? It always gets worse. And so we want to take care of it on the front end. So some of the most common areas of pain that we have that come into our clinic, I would say one of the most common ones is sciatic pain. Pain going down into the legs. Looking at that pain that's actually creating things like numbness and tingling. It's creating things like, again, chronic pain issues, sometimes to the point where it's actually creating nerve damage. And we're having people that come in and they literally cannot move their foot, or they're limping. So again, sciatic pain is one of the most common things that we see. Now, here's the bottom line. If we're not actually saying it, retracing that nerve and saying, where in the nervous system is this creating a problem, we're missing the very first step. And so my first thing when I'm evaluating something like sciatic pain is I have to evaluate the nervous system. I have to say, okay, structurally, what's going on? Is there any imbalance in the biomechanics of the pelvis, right? Seeing any imbalance there with the hips and rotation in the pelvis, any imbalance there with the sacrum. That sacrum is massively important because it's a part of your rest and digest nervous system. That means it is your parasympathetic nervous system, the nerves that branch out from there. So vastly important to your overall function of your nervous system. So I like to see, is there any biomechanical issue with the pelvis? And then I go above that and I say, okay, is there any loss of normal lumbar lordosis? So what does that mean? Normal curvature in the lumbar spine. Guys, you go into your orthopedic surgeons and they say, yeah, you've got degenerative disc disease. You've got something like, you're losing that disc space. That disc is herniated. We got to go in there and cut on it. We got to go in there and do surgery on it. And bottom line, they never tell you why it got to that point to begin with. You say, well, yeah, I know where it came from, Dr. Nathan. I was in a car accident, or I played football when I was in high school, or, I had a weightlifting injury. But here's what you don't realize. In order for that injury to happen, there has to be a mechanical and structural breakdown. So that means the structure of the spine, right, is actually misaligned and it creates a mechanical failure. That's why I love actually seeing engineers in our office. When engineers come in, like my dad is just a brilliant, mechanical engineer, and he gets it. He understands that structure equals function. So when we have engineers that come into the office, they get it. And when I tell them like, hey, listen, you're losing this curvature here in the lower back, you're losing this curvature in the neck, it's creating a mechanical failure in the structure of your spine, which damages the nervous system. It's putting cord tension, so actually affecting your spinal cord and inflammation around the nerve root. And so that being said, when we look at that and we actually address mechanical dysfunction and we actually start addressing structure, we get to see that pain start to relieve. We get to see the disc actually get to a point where it's healing. So that being said, we want to make sure that we're dealing with getting rid of structural mechanical breakdown. And so, again, that's the first step that we have to take in looking at the nervous system. And when we do that, most of the time with sciatic pain, that's where the problem's coming from, but not every time. And so I'm going to go over a couple other areas and avenues that we can see things like sciatic pain and low back pain when we get back from a short break. So we do got to take a short break. If you want one of those 3 appointments, again, that we've set aside for this show, Mary Beth is standing by, 423-362-5360. Again, 423-362-5360. Instead of 120, only 60. That includes all your necessary x-rays, exam, and a sit down with myself or Dr. Rebecca to get down to the root cause of the pain that you're feeling, or get down to the root cause of the headaches that you're, feeling every single day, or get down to the root cause of your hormone imbalance. This is Dr. Warren, and I'll be right back. This is Wellness Radio. All right, guys, so we're going over again, getting down to root cause. Hey, Sharon, good to see you. Eric, hey, what's up, man? Dr. Eric, good to see you on here. Angela, hi. Mary Beth, good to see you. So, again, we want to get down to the root cause of pain issues. If we're not doing that, let me get him to turn this volume down a little bit whenever he looks, because I know I can kind of hear it in the background.
Research shows that 90%
Yeah, so anyway, so when we're getting...
the wellness Wellness Radio every Saturday.
When we're getting down to root cause, here's some of the main things that I find with pain. So sciatic pain, I went over, structural integrity loss of the lower back, curvature there, creating herniated disc, and a mechanical failure there, pelvic rotation. Here's some other things though. What a lot of times we're not realizing, we don't associate physical pain with a chemical process going inside in the body. And so what do I mean by that? If somebody has like dysfunction in some of their organ systems, so like dysfunction in the gut, for example, if they have dysbiosis of the gut and they actually have an imbalance of their microbiome in the gut, if they have leaky gut, if they're actually having different things like proteins escaping the line in the gut going into the bloodstream, we know these can actually create physical issues in the nervous system. So yes, I have patients all the time that we actually address gut issues and their sciatic pain goes away, right? Despite the fact that we've been adjusting for 3 weeks or despite the fact that we've been adjusting for 4 months. Guys, they go hand in hand. Just like you can have dysfunction in the nervous system that creates damage to your organs, you can also have vice versa. You can have damage to the organs from lifestyle issues, whether it's chemical toxicity, whether it's, again, eating things like trans fat, tons of sugar, having imbalance in your blood sugar, insulin levels. Those things can create nerve damage, right? So it goes vice versa. So that's why we have to address both of those when we're working with a patient. And we always get better results when we say, hey, we're going to look at your nervous system that controls all health and healing in the body, but we are also going to address some of these underlying issues as well. If you have something like H. pylori going on, in your stomach that's affecting your overall digestive process, guess what? That's going to trickle down and create damage in the pancreas because you're now not secreting pancreatic enzymes the way you should. It's going to affect the liver because now your liver's not secreting bile, making bile the way it should, and it's backing up into that liver from the hepatic duct. Now it's affecting your gallbladder because now, again, you're not getting a proper release of the bile, and that bile is becoming more sluggish, and you're creating gallstones. And so you can see how there's certain things that create inflammatory processes in the body that can lead to physical pain. So we have to get down to the root cause of those. Let me give you guys an example. So I had a patient come in about 5 months ago. Rob, he was 37 years old, and he had actually lost the ability to use the right leg. And so that means all he could do was limp on that right leg. And so we had to start addressing the root cause. I started adjusting, found major pelvic imbalance, but really what turned the point on this guy was getting his blood sugar and insulin under control. And I'll talk about that in just a second. All right, guys, welcome back to Wellness Radio. I am your health expert, Dr. Nathan Warren, and we're going over some amazing topics today. This first topic of the show is going over the most proven, the scientifically proven pain relievers that you can actually use. And no, I'm not talking about aspirin. No, I'm not talking about Tylenol, because if you rely on those to get rid of your pain, that is at the expense of your digestive system, specifically your stomach. When we're talking about aspirin and when we're talking about Tylenol and acetaminophen, that is at the expense of your liver. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but Tylenol decreases your liver's ability to produce what's called glutathione. Glutathione is the strongest antioxidant known to mankind, and it's produced in your liver. If you are depleted of glutathione, you will be a sick individual. There's no other way around it. And if you supplement with glutathione, it is never as good as what's produced inside of your liver. Is there a time and a place to supplement with glutathione? Absolutely. And there's better ways to do that, like liposomal forms. They actually get into the lymphatic system and into the blood. But it is always better when it comes from your liver. And if you are popping Tylenol and acetaminophen, you are absolutely destroying the health of your liver. I don't care if you feel it or not. Actually, some of the best things that happen in the body and the worst things that happen in the body are the things that you never feel, right? So we are talking about pain, but let me say this for just a second and go off on a tangent. If all you do is base your health on how you feel and the pain that comes, again, guys, you're missing two of the biggest disease killers in the United States, and that's cancer and heart disease, that take years to build up inside of the body. And so if you wait on that pain to show up, right, from the tumor that's been building for 7 to 10 years, if you wait on that pain to show up, right, from, again, the pain that goes down into your arm in the process of having a heart attack, it's already too late. right? So we have to make sure that we're aware of that. Now, that being said, we did talk about in the first segment that if you're having chronic pain, it does change the brain. It does create stress issues as well. We know that this affects areas of the brain like your hippocampus. We know that again deals with things like your memory and your overall IQ. We know that it actually affects things like the hypothalamus of the brain. That again, chronic pain is going to raise your blood pressure. It's going to raise your cholesterol. It's going to raise your blood sugar. Again, actually, guys, chronic stress and chronic pain can raise your blood sugar more than you eating 2 or 3 candy bars in one setting. We know that stress will create cortisol. Cortisol will raise your blood sugar. Why? Because that's what it's meant to do when you're running away from a tiger. But when you have sciatic pain going down into your leg, again, your body is treating it like you're running away from a tiger and you're sitting at your desk, right, trying to meet a deadline at work. And so we talked about, that if there's a mechanical breakdown of the structure of the spine, that can absolutely create damage to the nervous system. But here on Facebook Live, I was going over a patient that started, I think it was about a month or two ago. Man, when I'm in my office, I have a time warp. I'm there like working on patients. Even during the day, I'm like, holy cow, my day's already over. And before I know it, my week's already over and it's already Friday again. But anyway, so Rob came in, he lost the use of his right leg, wasn't able to actually use it very well. He had to limp, and again, using a cane. And so when he came in, he had been told that yes, it's sciatic issues, it's really, really damaged, that there's not a lot you can do about it except for surgery. And so we started adjusting because there was a lot of pelvic imbalance there, a lot of rotation. If there's rotation in the right hip, there's rotation in the left hip, right? Wherever there's rotation doesn't necessarily correlate with pain or problems, but again, you can't rotate one hip without rotating the other. It doesn't work that way. The way the physiology of the hips work, if one's off, the other one's off. If one's off, the sacrum's off as well. If the sacrum's off, the lower back is off as well too. So we started working on that. We saw some progress, right? Like we saw some of the numbness and tingling start to go away. But again, when there's nerve damage, it takes time. The biggest dial mover, right, for Rob was when we started working on his blood sugar and insulin imbalance. Yes, blood sugar issues. So a chemical process going on in the body can create physical damage. And so if we're not actually saying, hey, we've got to address all these different things that are going on in the body to get down to the root cause, you will continue to have something like sciatic pain if it's not just directly coming from nervous system damage. So we have to say, okay, blood sugar, insulin, so we got him going on a paleo keto diet. And yes, we do teach people how to do that effectively, how to do that safely. Anybody that tells you that a diabetic cannot do a ketogenic diet safely is absolutely full of crap, and they just refuse to read scientific literature. And I would love to actually debate them here on the radio show, because I'm 100% confident in any type 2 diabetic doing a ketogenic diet and seeing phenomenal results with that when done the right way. When we teach people how to do it the right way, it's not just bacon and butter, right? It's actually still majority plant-based, but yet utilizing, some healthy forms of, pasture-raised animal fats, as well as increasing your plant fats, getting rid of the rancid, vegetable and seed oils, and as well as decreasing your carbohydrate intake as well as your sugar intake. And when you do that, guess what? All of your cells start to heal. We know that one of the most powerful diets on the planet to actually heal the nervous system is actually utilizing a ketogenic diet. We've known that since the 1920s when they actually showed that therapy works on decreasing seizures. And to this day, the only thing that's ever been scientifically proven to fully reverse certain types of seizures is the ketogenic diet. And yet your doctors go through 4 different medications before they ever recommend that to a child or to a patient. That's absolutely sickening, to be honest with you. I can't even believe that that's the way that it is. We say, oh no, you got to try these 4 drugs before you change a child's diet? That's insanity. Right? Absolutely insanity. And so with Rob, we put him on a paleo keto diet. We taught him how to do it effectively. And already we're starting to see him where he can now bend his knee on the right leg. He's still limping around, so it's still not perfect. It takes time for that nerve to actually heal. We started putting him on things like therapeutic doses of lion's mane extract, which actually helped to regrow, so nerve growth factor, and working on that. Got him on methylated B vitamins as well in a liposomal form to really deliver some building blocks to that nerve. We also got him on a lot of essential fatty acids acid, so working on, not only plant-based raw organic oils, but also utilizing things like perfect animal fats as well. So we're utilizing those to rebuild the nervous system. And yes, you can do that. And now he's able to actually bend his right leg for the first time in years. So again, in our office, we get down to root cause. If you want our help, if you want to come in and see us, again, Mary Beth just sent me a message here on Facebook. We are down to 2 appointments. If you want one of those last 2, make sure that you give her a call, 423-362-5360. If you're out of town, guess what? We also do virtual health coaching as well. You can give her a call at that same number, 423-362-5360. Instead of 120, only 60 to start getting down to the root cause and actually taking responsibility for your health. So some other great things that we look at when we're looking at pain relief. Again, I like to say, chemically what's going on. So we like to address the diet. What are some other diets that we actually love to use in our office? Because again, nobody is cookie cutter. So that's right. That means that everybody that comes in, I don't automatically put them on a paleo keto diet. Actually, for some people, they've been eating fake food for years, and I just have to start getting them to eat real food, right? So more of a paleo diet where I say, hey, we're going to eat lots of, pasture-raised animal, wild-caught seafood, lots of good healthy fat, nuts and seeds, fruit and vegetables, and we kind of start there, and then we work them into different, other healing strategies. I have some people, especially with autoimmunity, right? So if you're dealing with autoimmune, so things like, fibromyalgia and pain kind of all over the body, I like to use things like, a low FODMAP paleo diet. I see phenomenal results with that. And yes, in certain situations, I like to actually use what's called a carnivore diet. And I can already hear the people, oh my God, a carnivore diet, there's no way that's healthy for you. Actually, it's one of the most powerful tools you can use, especially when you're utilizing it against something like an autoimmune disease, and you're doing it the right way, nose to tail, plenty of collagen, plenty of bone broth, eating certain things like pasture-raised organ meats, as well as, or supplementing with, things like pasture-raised organ complex, and then eating different types of meat that's out there. Yes, you can do a carnivore diet and you can do it very healthy and actually down-regulate inflammation really, really fast. One of my virtual clients that I'm working with, that I'm coaching, and that's actually stationed over in Texas, he's been dealing with something like psoriatic arthritis type of reactions. I say something like that because he never got an official diagnosis of it. But anyway, around the elbows, around the back of the knees, inner thighs. And one of the best things that we ever did for him is we started working him into about a 2-week carnivore diet, nose to tail carnivore diet, saw the inflammation starting to go down. And then we started actually addressing the mucosal membrane of his gut. So I put him on some really good gut healers. And again, his symptoms are 80% reduced. He's already lost 45 pounds. He's getting his life back, literally day by day, but he's putting in the work too, right? I give him the information, but he's putting in the work. Again, utilizing different diets can be very healing and can down-regulate pain as well. Guys, I don't like to say food is medicine. I actually don't like that at all because, food is far more than medicine. Medicine has side effects. Food, no sir. Obviously, unless you drink, 10 gallons of water in one sitting? Yes, I guess water can be lethal. Have people died from drinking too much water? Yes, I guess that's true. But again, I'm talking about logic and common sense. Food is not medicine. Food is information, and it supplies each one of your cells with information that is actually happening not only at a microscopic level, but it's also happening at an energy level. We know that the energy that's in food directly affects the energy that's in your cell. We're talking about building blocks to your cell membrane and that cell membrane potential. So again, food is far more than medicine. Right? Food is part of the building blocks of life. So if we're not putting the right food in, guys, we're not also going to be addressing the full impact of things like pain and down-regulating pain. So I got to take another quick break. And when we get back, we're actually going to dive into another area that people are feeling pain, and that's headaches. And what are some of the common root causes of headaches and what you can do about it. If you want our help, again, like I said, there's only 2 appointments left. 423-362-5360. Again, that's 423-362-5360. Mary Beth is standing by. She can get you set up. for only $60 instead of $120. She'll get you set up with that appointment. Come in and see us. End the year great, so you can literally get started with your new year even greater, right? Most people wait till January. Why wait till January, man? Get your year ended in the right way so you can start in an even better way, man. Get that foot on that gas pedal so that you can go and actually rebuild your health, guys. This is Wellness Radio with Dr. Nathan Warren. I'll be right back after the break. All right, guys. So, hey, Lisa, good to see you on here. So we're talking about pain, right? So what are some of my favorite types of pain relievers that I love to actually utilize in the office? Some of the things that most people hear about and they try to use, I'm going to address that first. The first thing that I hear about all the time is, Dr. Nathan, I use turmeric, right? I use turmeric to relieve my pain. Now, even though in the scientific literature, turmeric has actually been shown to beat out certain opioid medications. It's even been said to beat out things like NSAIDs, your common non-steroidal or anti-inflammatory drugs like, again, like Tylenol, acetaminophen, ibuprofen, aspirin, those type of things. One of the things that we have to realize is that it's only as good as it is absorbed inside of the body and the doses that you're taking. And so one of the things about turmeric is that it's actually not absorbed very well. So the amount that you're taking is probably not getting into your system as effectively as it could. But wait a second, let me tell you how to get it in the most effective way so you get the best results with it. So when you're looking at utilizing turmeric, utilize what's called curcumin. Curcumin is going to be an active ingredient and phytochemical and phytonutrient that's actually in the turmeric itself. So it's broken down even more. Now, an even better way to use it is when it's in its liposomal form. So that means when it's blended with fat. When it's broken down and blended with fat, usually they use an emulsifier like something like a non-GMO soy lecithin, or utilizing what I like even better, a sunflower lecithin, and then they blend it in fat, whether it's olive oil or coconut oil or MCT oil. So getting it in that form breaks it down in what's called liposomes and micelles, which are then able to actually get into the cell and drastically reduce inflammation. The second thing that is going to help your curcumin actually absorb into the body and get the most benefits is what's called bioperine or black pepper extract. So yes, if your turmeric or your curcumin is not alongside some of this bioperine or black pepper extract, it's really going to have a hard time absorbing. We actually know studies show anywhere from 10 to 30 times the absorption when you use bioperine with your curcumin. And so there's several supplements out there that utilize that. We even have some on our store on doctorswarren.com. So if you want to go over there, you can check those things out and actually get a highly absorbable form of curcumin. Now, one of the best ones that I like to use that's got a complex that also uses not only curcumin, but it uses boswellia or frankincense, right, which is a very powerful anti-inflammatory effects, and also contains things like certain systemic enzymes and proteolytic enzymes that break down inflammation. I like using something called inflammatone. Inflammatone by Designs for Health is a fantastic one to get started with. I like to use therapeutic doses at first. So I like to use things like maybe 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 2 in the evening. You can go up from there, or you can go down from there, depending on how you do with it. So for a lot of people, that's right on target, and they do really well with that. For others, because they do well, they say, hey, can I take a little bit less and still get the same effect to save a little bit of money? You can do that as well too. But inflammatone, absolutely fantastic at decreasing inflammation overall. Another one I like to use as well, especially to kind of take the place of an aspirin or a Tylenol, is something called phenocaine. Phenocane off of Amazon. If you go on doctorswarren.com, we have our Amazon store on there. Phenocaine actually contains not only curcumin and boswellia, but it also contains enzymes and something called DLPA, right, which is actually blocking some of those same receptors that some of those NSAIDs do without all of the side effects. So again, phenocaine is a great one that you can use, especially if you're using it instead of aspirin and Tylenol. And I'll answer about acupuncture in just a second. All right, guys, welcome back to Wellness Radio. I'm your health expert, Dr. Nathan Warren, and I've been going over on today's show, the importance of getting rid of chronic pain and actually how to get down to root cause when you're getting rid of chronic pain, because chronic pain is not a primary cause. There is something that is creating that chronic pain inside the body, and you have to get down to the root cause. If not, over time, chronic pain actually changes the brain and the function of the brain. We know it creates stress response in the nervous system. So yes, it can be a major cause of raising your blood sugar. So if you've been eating well, for 2 or 3 years, and your blood sugar is not going down, and you have chronic low back pain or chronic neck pain, absolutely that can be a major driver of why your blood sugar is still going up. If you are fatigued on a daily basis, again, because your body is having to use so much energy to protect that injured area, and because you're chronically getting a cortisol response, your adrenals are probably shot. So we know that it affects the HPA axis. So we want to make sure we're getting down to root cause of chronic pain. I had a question on Facebook Live from Phil. What are my thoughts on acupuncture for treating pain? So I think acupuncture is a phenomenal tool, right? It's a phenomenal tool to utilize to decrease pain. Now, again, I don't like to say treat, because again, even in my office with chiropractic, I never say treat, because, when you're utilizing health strategies, it is to improve function. When you improve function, it's your body that heals. Our medical system uses the word treat. That's a bunch of crap. Like, when's the last time you took a blood pressure medicine and it treated your symptoms? Like, it gets rid of your symptoms. When did it treat your high blood pressure? It didn't, because if you stop taking that drug, guess what's still there? The problem. But they use the word treat. Guys, the only thing that actually gets the body well is the body itself, period. Right? When I use chiropractic care and I actually utilize working on the nervous system, it is not my adjustment that gets the body well. It's the body's self-healing mechanisms that get itself well. Right? When you utilize eating a great diet, it is the body's self-healing mechanisms that get it well, that you break down that food, that utilize it and assimilate it and turn it into cellular tissue. When you use acupuncture, right, especially when you're hitting certain points in the body and you're using it for overall wellness and health, it's not the acupuncture that creates the decrease in problems. It is the body's self-healing mechanisms. What the acupuncture, what the chiropractic, what the food is doing is it's removing any type of interference in that healing system. That's what it's doing to allow the body to heal and respond the way it's supposed to do. So yes, Phil, I absolutely love acupuncture. I think it's a phenomenal avenue of health. I would always say I would never go to somebody that does acupuncture that was trained in Western acupuncture. I think that's a load of crap. I would go to somebody who's been trained in the Eastern side of acupuncture. That is where, the anecdotal evidence is outstanding. We're talking hundreds, if not thousands of years of utilizing something like acupuncture. And so again, some of the best acupuncturists that I've ever been to were trained in Eastern, right, acupuncture, not Western. I would never go to somebody trained in Western acupuncture, because again, Eastern is the way to go. So I love that. I think that's a phenomenal way. We talked about some supplements on Facebook Live. So if you're listening on the radio, you need to go back and actually like and follow our page, Drs. Warren, on Facebook, and you can go back and actually watch this show. We do archive all these shows. We also archive them on our website at drswarren.com. Now, I did want to say this because I haven't mentioned it yet, but when I talked about Rob's story about his nerve pain that was going down his leg, losing the utilization of his leg, and we talked about actually balancing out blood sugar and insulin, well, guess what we have coming up on December the 9th here? We have our 3rd annual Blood Sugar Summit. Guys, this is literally one of our best summits that we do throughout the year. We always have hundreds of people that show up to this thing, and we always have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 different amazing testimonials that come from it. So again, December the 9th, we're actually doing it at Venue Church Chattanooga. So Venue Church Chattanooga, December the 9th at 6:30 p.m. This event will sell out. So again, just like all of our events, we always fill it up, which is a lot of fun. If you are wondering what steps you need to take to balance your blood sugar or insulin, or if you're one of those that is doing amazing with your health, but you want to know how to take that to the next level, one of the greatest longevity hacks you can do is learn how to keep your blood sugar insulin response low. When you do that, it creates massive health inside the body. We're going to be going over all the latest and greatest research and what has came out. It will be completely different than last year. We always go over different things. So make sure you get registered for that today. How do you get registered? You can either call Mary Beth at the office, again, 423-362-5360. You can tell her how many tickets you want and get your seats saved now. Or you can go on our website, doctorswarren.com. We have it very easy where you can click on that. We have a banner right at the top. You can click on that and get registered for how many seats that you want. Bring your friends, bring your family. Do it together, guys. Like I said, ending the year great so you can get the year started on an even greater scale, right? If you don't and you're just waiting till January, that is planning to fail. We have to actually take an action step in the planning process to start getting yourself, ready and prepared for a great year, the best year you've ever had. And so December the 9th, 6:30 p.m., Blood Sugar Summit. Dr. Rebecca and myself, man, we're going to be diving into all the latest and greatest solutions and how to get your blood sugar and insulin, balanced. And yes, if you're a type 2 diabetic or you're pre-diabetic, we will show you how you can reverse your type 2 diabetes. Let me shout that from the rooftops. Yes, you can reverse your type 2 diabetes. I don't care if you've dealt with it for 20, 30 years. It's absolutely, you take the steps necessary, your body can heal and it can reverse it. I don't care what your nurse told you. I don't care what your doctor told you. If it's type 2 diabetes, you can absolutely reverse that. If it's type 1 diabetes, you can help balance that out so that you're not utilizing as much insulin as you can. Because if you're a type 1 diabetic and you're constantly shooting up with insulin and your blood sugar is going up and down, up and down, up and down, again, that will decrease longevity of life. No doubt about it. And so, Blood Sugar Summit, 6:30 p.m., December the 9th at Venue Church, Chattanooga, 423-362-5360, 362-5360. Get signed up for that today. Now, let's dive into headaches, right? So headaches are some of the most common things that we see. And people said, hey, don't worry, Dr. Nathan, it is just headaches. We all deal with them. Listen, just because it's common doesn't mean that it's normal. All right. And I want to say that, again, just because a symptom is common doesn't mean that it's normal. All right. And so we're living in a society now where headaches are just a regular part of life. That is not a normal thing. That is a warning sign that says, hey, there's some underlying issues to what's going on. What are some of the most common causes I find of things like headaches and migraines and even things of like cluster headaches? One area that goes ignored is food allergies. That's one of the biggest areas that gets ignored when we're actually looking at headaches, right? And so one of the things that we always evaluate on my headache patients is I have them do an actual food allergy test. Now, I don't do the skin prick test. Guys, that is your dermatologist has been doing that for years, and yet you guys all still have your allergies still. I actually utilize what's called an IgG allergy test, and I realized those things are not always 100% accurate. So you have to have a wellness physician who's actually very good at breaking that down, and that's what we do. We say, hey, here's how you approach this. This doesn't mean you cut these foods out for the rest of your life. You still have to actually help the gut to heal. And when you do that and you close up that gut mucosal membrane, you can actually see massive reduction in headaches. That's one area that we have some really, really great results with and that we do in our office as well. So if you're dealing with headaches and you'd like to get our last appointment that's here again on this show that's available today, 423-362-5360. Mary Beth is standing by. She can get you set up. We're going to evaluate the cervical curve in your neck and see if there's any misalignment and damage that's coming from there that's creating your headaches. We're going to find out how balanced your nervous system is, again, to see if that's increasing or decreasing circulation into the brain, into the head. We're also going to say, hey, are there any ways that you're eating or things in your lifestyle that maybe your work environment that's creating these headaches? And we're actually going to get down to the root cause there. And again, we see phenomenal solutions with headaches by getting down to the root cause. 423-362-5360. Give Mary Beth a call. Grab that last appointment before it's gone. Again, guys, this is Wellness Radio. I'll be right back after the break. Hey, you're welcome, Phil. Again, I love acupuncture. That was a great question. I love great questions on here. If you guys have any other questions, please ask them, man. That's what we want to do. We want to go through all of these. So again, I talked about one of the most common things that we see with headaches are dealing with, again, issues in the gut that's creating what's called a leaky gut. That term is tossed out a lot. But bottom line is, it's where you damage the mucosal membrane in the gut. It's where the tight junctions are either, they're having things like zonulin or other molecules that are actually creating those gap junctions to open up. Or again, chronic issues with like over imbalance of certain types of microorganisms like C. diff, in the stomach lining, things like H. pylori. Actually, I will say, I've had several patients with an overgrowth of H. pylori that were messing up the entire digestive process, so they weren't breaking down their foods appropriately, specifically their proteins, and that was creating their chronic headaches, and especially in the migraine category. H. pylori is a big one because what most people don't realize is that H. pylori can literally, think of it like almost like a corkscrew into the lining of the stomach itself, and it can create an underproduction of hydrochloric acid or an overproduction of hydrochloric acid and really stop the way that your protein is broken down, with that process starting in the stomach. And so that's another area that we find. Some other areas of dealing with headaches that we find are root causes. Mold, especially here in Chattanooga, man, mold is everywhere. And so addressing that appropriately, some people have, hidden areas of mold. Two of the most hidden areas of mold that we find in people's houses are, number one, the washing machine. The washing machine is a huge hidden area of mold. But don't worry, I have a solution for you. It's called CitraSafe, CitriSafe. You go on Amazon, get some CitraSafe. They actually have a concentrated solution that's loaded with things like citrus essential oils, but at high concentrations. And again, you can utilize that in your washing machine to really break down some of the mold that may be building up there. Now, if it's completely overgrown, you probably just want to get rid of your washing machine and switch it out because you do not want to play with mold. The other area that I really find it a lot in is the dishwasher as well. So hidden areas of mold, like in the dishwasher, also in the air vents, right? Sometimes behind the air filters. So make sure that you're getting those inspected on, at least a yearly basis. Do some things for prevention, like you can get like a dehumidifier in your house. Utilize something like an air doctor is a great air filtration system that we use. And again, we use that in our clinic and we use that at home. So doing some things to decrease your mold exposure in your environment is a major, major step in getting rid of chronic headaches and fatigue as well. So you can check your workplace as well. Actually, according to the EPA, about 82% of our kids' schools in our public school system are littered with mold and they don't even realize it, right? So again, we have to look for hidden infections that may be going on there. Another help, if you've been exposed to mold, right, and if you want to actually start addressing that, one very simple way to start addressing that is by utilizing a really high quality binder in the gut. So I like to use GI Detox Plus, right, by Biobotanical Research. It's on our store on doctorswarren.com, but it has humeric and fulvic acid. It also has things like zeolite, a really clean form of zeolite. Most zeolite is dirty on the market, and it also has things like activated carbon and activated charcoal in there. It's got some aloe vera as well. So it's a really fantastic supplement that really helps to bind up some of those mycotoxins that are being produced actually in the inner lining of the gut. And so again, you can go on doctorswarren.com and find that GI Detox Plus. All right, guys, welcome back to Wellness Radio. I am your health expert, Dr. Nathan Warren, and we've been going over hidden causes of chronic pain. We've also been going over headaches today. Literally how these are maybe common, but they're not normal, right? So just because you have them all the time and your friends have them all the time does not mean that it's a normal thing, right? So we want to get down to the root cause of these problems. And so, I talked about at the beginning with things like with pain, and I said scientifically proven. Here's a good research article that came out. This was actually March 2019. And so this was actually, presented at the Academy of Pain. So looking at a big thing that's held every single year when it's published in Medscape as well. It was a study that actually looked at chiropractic care. It was a meta-analysis and systematic review of the literature. And what they found is that patients who visited a chiropractor on a regular basis for musculoskeletal pain issues or headaches had a 49% less likely to receive or take an opioid prescription than their counterparts who saw other healthcare providers. Let me repeat that again. So a meta-analysis and systematic review of the literature. This is according to, again, one of the biggest, American Academy of Pain Medicine. So this is actual medical healthcare looking at their research. And so what they found is that patients who actually regularly visited a chiropractor as opposed to other healthcare providers for musculoskeletal pain or headaches, so a 49% less likely, so a decrease in their opportunity to receive an opioid prescription or need to take an opioid prescription or NSAIDs than their other healthcare providers. So that being said, again, don't use your chiropractor like a stinking aspirin. That's not the way to utilize chiropractic. So a lot of people that come in to see us are like, oh yeah, I've been to the chiropractor before. Oh, I love chiropractic. It's great, but I still have back pain. I still have neck pain. I still have, I'm losing my cervical curve in the neck. I'm like, yeah, that's because you're using chiropractic like our medical system. You're using chiropractic just like an aspirin or a Tylenol. And so it's not meant to be there when you go in and you get, cracked and popped just to get out of pain. Would I rather you do that than like an aspirin? Absolutely. But it's not for that. It was built, right, for wellness. It was built for prevention to begin with. And some of you guys are dealing with problems that have been there for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And I'm sorry, but that is not going to get addressed by one adjustment. I promise you that. It's going to take time to actually work on healing the body. I had a patient the other day that said their medical doctor told them to not see a chiropractor because once you do, it makes your bones loose and you have to see him the rest of your life. And I laugh at that because that medical doctor is an absolute buffoon and hasn't learned anything about the physiology of the body. They're probably a pain mill where they just roll out medications all the time, and again, should probably have their medical license revoked because of what they're doing to their patients. Bottom line is using chiropractic as a preventative mechanism is absolutely amazing and it has been shown in the scientific literature to reduce your use of opioid medications. So again, utilize that. The number one reason for missed work and missed days and the number one reason actually for cause of depression in the United States of America is low back pain. And that is something that we help to deal with in our office. So if you want an appointment, come in and see us, 423-362-5360. Again, 423-362-5360. Come in and see us and actually get down to the root cause of your health problems. And again, get registered for our health summit. We have the blood sugar summit coming up December the 9th, 6:30 p.m. at Venue Church, Chattanooga. 423-362-5360 or go on doctorswarren.com and get registered. I will see you guys next week. All right, guys, so I kind of went off on a tangent there, but it's so true, man. Don't use your chiropractor as an aspirin, just like you shouldn't use exercise as an aspirin, just like you shouldn't use food as an aspirin. Again, these are lifestyle-based things that you do on a regular basis, just like acupuncture, like Phil talked about. Actually, acupuncture is better even used in preventative scenarios and utilizing it for wellness. The best things for your health are utilized in a lifestyle format, right? Things like meditation, things like prayer, utilizing things like exercise, good quality food, getting out in the sunshine, walking barefoot on the earth, getting out into nature. These are things that you don't do when you're already sick, even though you should do them then too. You should be doing these preventatively to really see a major improvement there. So again, like I told you guys, we went over headaches, we went over things like chronic pain. If you guys have any further questions, please let me know. Shoot us a message here on Facebook. Shoot us a message here on this video. I would love to be able to answer any questions that we possibly can. And just like always, man, thank you guys for liking and sharing our posts. I actually had a lady in Utah that sent me a message on this past Wednesday and talked about how she's lost 6 64 pounds in the last 5 months because her friend actually shared the video with her in one of our previous radio shows where we actually talked about weight loss and starting on a paleo ketogenic diet and the steps that it takes to do that. So I thank you guys. You never know how far reaching it can be. Even if you never hear about it again, you could be changing somebody's life by getting this information out there. So again, love you guys, and I will see you next time on Wellness Radio.